Welcome to the Ben Gregersen Show.
Adams, Mason, Franklin, Gary, Ames, and Washington, Lee and Rutledge, Hancock, Wilson, Wythe, Sherman, Adams, Hall, and Rodney, Penn, and Dickinson.
For the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence and the 37 who signed the Constitution.
And here's to you, Mr. Jefferson. We all miss you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you, please, Mr. Madison. Heaven help these fools that legislate. Rights away, our rights away. We'd like to know why you haven't read all the bills you filed. We'd like for you to read them for yourself. Look around you, all you see are patriotic guys. Stroll around the land, the brave and free go home. And here's to you, Mr. Jefferson. We all miss you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you, please, Mr. Madison. Heaven help these fools that legislate. Rights away, our rights away. Hiding all your $1 trillion debt so we don't know. Hide it in your made-up FICA trust fund. It's a little secret, just the congressman will know. Worst of all, you pass this debt on to the kids. They think we're fools, Mr. Jefferson. We all miss you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you, please, Mr. Madison. Heaven help these fools that legislate. Rights away, our rights away. Ripping up our Constitution every afternoon. Give themselves a raise with no debate. Laughing at founding fathers when they've got to choose. Everything they warned of's coming true. Where have you gone, Ron Wilson Reagan? Our nation turns its lonely eyes to you. Woo, woo, woo. What's that you say, Mr. Jefferson? The giver has left and gone away. And we prayed, wish he stayed.
I love that song. I've began this program on many occasions by playing that song. Love it. It's a great way to start the show. There is so much stuff in the news right now to talk about. But let's talk about what's going on tonight. I'm sure many of you have heard about the shooting at the Fort Hood military base. Not the one that happened in 2009, but another one happened today. And to me, that shooting, that is evidence that we need to allow our soldiers to carry weapons on their base. Because right now, military bases are a gun-free zone. They are a gun-free zone because of Bill Clinton. See, Bill Clinton and the Democrat Party, they don't understand that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Our soldiers should be allowed to carry those weapons. There wouldn't have been a mass shooting in Fort Hood today if our troops were able to carry weapons on military bases. They would have had a way of defending themselves. As soon as that soldier or whoever it was started acting out of line, our soldiers could have taken them out, and they could have protected themselves. That is why it is important to get rid of Bill Clinton's ban on guns on military bases. It's one of the stupidest things Bill Clinton's done, and Bill Clinton's done a lot of stupid things, but this tops the list. You know, it was one of the worst, stupidest things Bill Clinton did when he was president. It wasn't smart. I mean, just think of how stupid that sounds. We've got a military base, and none of our soldiers on that base are able to carry weapons. It's a gun-free zone. And anybody smart out there knows that gun-free zones is where these bad guys go to target innocent people. Why? Why do the bad guys go to gun-free zones to shoot people? Well, because nobody could defend themselves in a gun-free zone. A gun-free zone is the only place these idiots could get away with a mass shooting. That's why we need to arm our soldiers on our military bases so they could defend themselves. We need to repeal Bill Clinton's weapons ban on military bases. Anyways, that's my rant on what took place, what's taking place on the news tonight. Yesterday, on April Fool's Day, the Obama administration made a big announcement. They made an announcement that 7 million Americans have signed up for Obamacare. And most people with a brain realize that that number is phony. That number is full of it. In fact, I can't think of a more terrible day for Obama to release those phony numbers. He released those phony numbers on April Fool's Day. So, only the fools in America fell for Obama's April Fool's joke yesterday. That's all it was. That 7 million number is just an April Fool's joke. And it's already been proven false. Most of those people in that 7 million already had health care before Obamacare began. I think it was something that, like, there was only 4 million new enrollees in Obamacare. Could be wrong about that. It could be less than that. But it was not very many. I mean, that's a lot, but it's not 7 million. That number is a lie. And it's a hoax. This isn't a first for the Obama administration. The Obama administration has fudged numbers before. I remember right before the 2012 election, the unemployment rate magically dropped a week before the election. And everybody was pretty skeptical about that. They're like, yeah, that timing's a little too perfect. There's no way that could be accurate. And it wasn't. They found out recently that the administration fudged those numbers just before the election because they didn't want to lose. You see, historically, no president has ever won re-election with an unemployment rate above 8%. So what happened? The unemployment rate was above 8%, so the administration had to drop it a week before the election. It was totally phony. And I remember even at the time when the unemployment rate dropped, people were looking at the numbers and they're like, this is really fuzzy math. And it was. It was a lie. It was a scam. Yesterday's Obamacare numbers were just as much of a scam as the 2012 unemployment numbers right before the election. Last week, I interviewed Lance Earl on this program, and I really enjoyed that interview. It was a good, solid conversation. We talked about the Constitution, and Lance Earl is a constitutionalist. That's what I like about him, and I could tell you that he is somebody who stands on principle, and he is somebody who will return power to the states. Because right now, states' rights are being stepped on and crushed by the federal government. And Barack Obama is leading that federal government. And our Constitution is being violated by Barack Obama on a daily basis. How? Number one, Obamacare. Obamacare is a violation of the Constitution. It's a violation of religious liberty, and it's a violation of a lot of other things. The list is, I could go on for an hour on that. Number two, Obama has taken us into multiple wars without congressional approval. The Constitution is clear that you must get congressional approval. Number three, Obama thinks he's a lawmaker. Obama has misused executive orders time and time again. Executive orders are not meant to be laws, but Obama thinks they are laws. They're not laws. An executive order is something that is supposed to stay within the executive branch. An executive order does not affect Idaho. It does not affect Utah. It does not affect Florida. It does not affect the 50 states. It is not a law. It is something that affects the executive branch only. It's like the CEO of Walmart telling his employees how he wants them to conduct business. That's what an executive order is. It is the President of the United States telling the executive branch how he wants to conduct business. He is telling the executive branch, this is how we're going to do things. And guess what? That stuff stays within the executive branch. It is not a law that governs the nation. Barack Obama has violated the United States Constitution on multiple occasions. In fact, 2 nights ago, I read the scariest thing. It was an executive order that Barack Obama signed. He signed an executive order to release tens of thousands of illegal immigrants from prison. And these illegal immigrants were thugs. These were murderers. These were drug dealers. These were kidnappers. These were sex traffickers. These guys were thrown in prison for a reason. And Barack Obama signed an executive order to release these guys on the streets of America. We've got these guys roaming our streets. The best advice I could give the American people right now is to lock their doors at nighttime. Keep your children safe. Keep a close eye on them. Because there are criminals and there are thugs roaming our streets because of this president. He has such a disregard for the law. I mean, how is it even legal for him to sign an executive order that releases all these prisoners? He does not have that authority. He's not a lawmaker. He cannot make those decisions. This president is a violator of the Constitution, and there's a video I want to show you. In fact, this is a video I wanted to show Lance Earl last week, but my laptop wasn't working, so I didn't. I wanted to see what he thought about it.
I think we can say that the Constitution reflected an enormous blind spot in this culture that carries on until this day, and that the framers had that same blind spot. I don't think the two views are contradictory to say that it was a remarkable political document that paved the way for where we are now, and to say that it also reflected the fundamental flaw of this country that continues to this day.
We have a president that has said that our Constitution is the fundamental flaw of this country. Our president made an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. And all he does is violate it, and all he does is go around telling people that it's our biggest flaw. I'm here to tell you tonight that the Constitution is not our biggest flaw. The Constitution is America's biggest strength. And we need to get back to constitutional principles in this country. And we need to defeat guys like Barack Obama. I'm with Rush Limbaugh on this. I hope he fails. I hope Obama fails in his plan to fundamentally transform the United States of America. I hope he fails, because if he fails, America survives and America succeeds. It's time for the American people to stand up and fight for their rights, because the Constitution does begin with the words, "We the people." We the people hold the power in this country, not the federal government. The federal government, they work for us. They are our employees. If they're doing a bad job, we've got to get rid of them. And we've got to make our voice heard. All right. Let's move on. I read the newspaper today. And I read the front page story about the Republican Party meeting. I was at that meeting, and anyways, the chairman of the Republican Party tried to prevent Lance Earl from speaking at that meeting, even though Lance Earl is a candidate for our area. He is a candidate in Bannock County. And they tried to prevent him from speaking. So Lance Earl, he got on the phone and called the Boise GOP. And the Boise GOP said, "Wow, that's really strange. Okay, Lance, we're gonna give the Pocatello GOP a call. We're gonna straighten this out, because that's really strange, and that's not how things are supposed to work within the Republican Party." So they called the Pocatello Republican Party, and they allowed Lance Earl to speak because they had to. I mean, they look like a bunch of idiots not letting him speak. Well, I read the paper today, and Kelly Packer responded to Lance Earl's claim that the Republican Party is divided. And that's true. Our party is divided, and we need to unite. And that's really one of my goals, is to unite the Republican Party. Because my Savior, Jesus Christ, said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." So we've got to unite. But Kelly Packer, she ignores the fact that we're divided. In fact, she's part of the division. She wants us to be divided. And her statements in the Idaho State Journal were very divisive. She made a claim that the Tea Party has infiltrated the Republican Party. And she claimed that everyone in the Tea Party were libertarians and not Republicans. She's got to be kind of stupid if she thinks everybody in the Republican Party are libertarians. Sure, there's a lot of libertarians, but you know what? I almost guarantee that a majority of people in the Tea Party classify themselves as conservatives. And so she's got to be kind of stupid if she thinks they're all libertarians. But even then, who cares if there's libertarians in the Tea Party? What she doesn't seem to understand is there's a libertarian wing in the Republican Party. Rand Paul is one of those libertarians, and he is a Republican, and Republicans like him. So for her to claim that libertarians, that they're not really part of the party, that's stupid. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And because she's saying that the Tea Party isn't part of the Republican Party, that's stupid too. That's like saying that conservatives aren't part of the Republican Party, and she's wrong about that. There is a libertarian wing in the Republican Party, a conservative wing in the Republican Party, and yes, there is a moderate wing in the Republican Party. And people like her think that only moderates are the true Republicans, and that the rest of us need to pack up our bags and leave the party. Well, you know what? That kind of thinking is stupid. Because if you kick us out of the party, who's going to vote for you? I highly doubt that you're going to get enough Democrats and enough independents to vote for you, Kelly Packer. Democrats hate Republicans. You're not going to get enough Democrats voting for you, Kelly Packer. If you kick the conservatives and the libertarians out of the party. Because I guarantee you, we make up the majority of the Republican Party. We're probably like 70% of the party. That's why whenever elections happen, these moderate types in the party, these rhino types in the party, they go out there and pretend to be conservatives. Like Mike Simpson, for instance. Mike Simpson, every time you see Mike Simpson's name, he writes conservative in front of it. Conservative Mike Simpson, or Mike Simpson the conservative. He almost pushes this idea that he's a conservative so much that it's unbelievable. You know, it's like the only person who believes Mike Simpson as a conservative is Mike Simpson. And he's trying to push that belief on everybody else, and it comes off as phony. It comes off as fake. And I actually want to show you a video of Mike Simpson.
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes. Mr. Rhino, but look what grows. 2 big horns on the tip of your nose.
Question: how many House Republicans do you think will follow you, are willing to break their pledge, and quite frankly put their political futures at risk to make this deal?
Well, first, the pledge. I signed that in 1998 when I first ran. I didn't know I was signing a marriage agreement that would last forever.
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes.
If we had
Rhino
concentrated on trying to make sure those people have access to health care, as we did with the S-CHIP program, which expanded the state children's health program, which I voted for and actually voted to override my president's veto on that, because I think it's important. We would be...
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes. Mr. Rhino.
When I get to the EPA, someone in the audience will say, just defund it. Get rid of it. And it's the first applause line in the speech. That's the reputation the EPA has out in the public, and that's the concern that the public has about the direction that the EPA is headed. So I appreciate my gentleman's concern about the EPA, but as I try to explain to people, you can't just do away with the EPA.
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes. Mr. Rhino.
I said it because the Club for Growth was trying to get the Republicans to ban earmarks. I was one of the ones in Congress who said, no, you don't want to ban earmarks.
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes.
I voted, let me answer the question. I voted for the $700 billion bailout.
Thank you.
Everybody got that? My name's Mike Simpson. I voted for the $700 billion bailout.
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes.
Now, whether TARP was the right thing to do or not, or other things that could have been done, no one's proposed what else we could have done. Some people have said that it is unconstitutional. No, it is tied to the Constitution.
Mr. Rhino, everybody knows you got one tail, 4 feet, 12 toes. Mr. Rhino, but look what grows. 2 big horns on the tip of your nose.
That's a pretty revealing video. You've got Mike Simpson in that video declaring that we cannot get rid of the EPA. We've got Mike Simpson in that video saying that he likes earmarks, which is pork. Earmarks is wasteful government spending. And our country is already in a ton of debt. We need to get rid of earmarks. There is too much wasteful spending in our government, and earmarks have to go. And then you got Mike Simpson in that video supporting the Wall Street bailouts and supporting tax increases. Mike Simpson even supports government health care. He says, I voted against President Bush's veto of government health care. That's bothersome. And that is certainly not the record of a conservative. Mike Simpson is a Republican in name only. Let's get rid of Mike Simpson this year, guys.